Howdy crew, today I'll be talking about weld quality and welding experience as I bathe my hose. Let's get to it. Before I get into the nitty gritty of the video, I do want to thank my very best friend for the idea and suggestion of changing up the scenery some. She thought it'd be very welcome by the channel and be something different, so the same scenery for the welding vlogs. So I'll be washing my house, giving her a bubble bath, helping with some skin irritation she has going on. So if y'all see a bunch of bubbles and me picking at her, I'm just helping her feel better and getting her all cleaned up. So thank you again to my very best friend. I really appreciate it. And getting into the nitty gritty of the video, I want to go and talk about welding experience and weld quality. Now, obviously, as y'all know, weld quality is very important, but some folks don't take it too seriously. And one thing in the Los Angeles area that I'm specifically talking about, because I live in Los Angeles, that there's mobile welders out here that know absolutely nothing about welding. They have a welding machine, they have a truck, and they go make sparks. That's all they do. They don't have any certifications. They have very little to no welding school knowledge, and they may have possibly never worked on a single job site as a welder or even a welding apprentice. And I'm not making this up. It is true. I've been messaged by these guys asking if I needed stuff welded, and it's kind of funny, but I've talked to rig welders about this before, and it's sad because these guys know nothing about welding. I'm not trying to be mean, not trying to be demeaning, but as a welder, you should have good quality welds every single time. Now, again, I know there's going to be those bad days. You have lots of arc blow, you have stuff going on, you have to remove a weld, do it over again. I do get that, and I completely understand that. But I'm saying you have to have the knowledge and the weld quality to do it consistently, making good welds. If you don't have good welds, you got to start over. And you are the first person to know whether it's good weld or not. You, as the welder, have to do visual testing before even the welding inspector gets there. You have to look at it and know whether it passes visual testing. If you don't even know what that is, don't be a rig welder, don't be a welder of any sort until you know what that is. You got to go to school, you got to learn it from somewhere. You got to get those good quality welds before you can start rig welding, because you'll just make a bad name for yourself and no one will ever want to hire you unless they're looking for the cheapest option, and then they'll realize that you know nothing and they will never hire you after that. Obviously, everyone wants the cheapest option. I get that. Anything you go and buy, you want the least expensive option, but also you want to make sure that it's still good quality. You can go to the store and you can get really cheap food sometimes, but is there mold in it? Do you want to eat something that's full of mold because it's the cheapest option? I highly doubt it. If you do, well, that's you. But for welders, there are a lot of folks that will go with the cheapest option, but then they have to hire a real welder to come and fix all that, and it's going to cost them even more. Not only because a real welder is worth more per hour or per project, but they have to spend more time to fix the other person's screw-ups. And there's a lot of folks pass themselves as mobile welders, and I guess you could say they are a mobile welder. They have a mobile vehicle, so they have a truck, and they have a welding machine, but beyond that, they're not even a welder. You got to have those good quality welds. I would not recommend anyone going to welding school and then coming right out and be a mobile welder, because there's no real world experience. If you have real world experience and a lot of it, then become a mobile welder, because there's so much that the real world of welding will teach you that school can't. And y'all know I do highly praise welding schools. I think that's the option to go instead of unions or just going into a company, but there's so much that they cannot teach you. They cannot teach you all kinds of different projects, all kinds of new techniques and ways to do things. Welding school is very good to get the weld quality up, but for fabrication, for knowledge and know-how, you got to be out in the field doing it. School just cannot fit the bill for that. It just cannot. It never will. You have to be out in the field, learning all this stuff, figuring out new techniques, learning from all the journeymans there, and all that good stuff. You got to be out in the field doing it. You don't have that, you're missing out on so much. I worked in the Ironworkers Union here in Los Angeles, Local 433, and when I was in welding school, I worked at multiple fabrication shops. After that, I was working at different places, Then I was in local 433. Then after 433, I was an independent welder. And what that means is I just welded for a bunch of guys that I know. I used their trucks, their welding machines, all that stuff. I didn't have to supply hardly anything except for some tools that I have. And I was independent, like a subcontractor, if you will, of a subcontractor. And so I learned so many different things, not that I didn't know how to weld or that I didn't know how to fabricate, but there's so many unique different projects out there that I could show up to a place and there's something I've never seen before. Doesn't mean I couldn't do it. I just had to carefully plan what I was doing. And same thing with the fabrication shops while I was in welding school. I had to learn all kinds of different things that the school could never teach me. Even local 433, I had projects such as some of the skyscrapers I was working on in downtown Los Angeles. My apprentices, I had to have them hold me by my boots because I was upside down, hanging in the elevator shaft or on the side of the building, welding. That's the only way you could get to it. And was it OSHA compliant? Probably not. Didn't look into whether you can or cannot have people holding you by your boots while you weld. And I'd rather not because I doubt it's OSHA approved. But you got to learn all kinds of new ways to do things. Would I recommend hanging upside down and doing that? No, please don't do that because I doubt it's OSHA approved. But there's all kinds of different fabrication techniques, welding techniques, things you can learn out in the real world that you just cannot learn in welding school. And if you have one class of welding school and you're going out to be a mobile welder, you're not going to make it and you're going to look bad. You're going to just have all this stuff going against you and it's not going to go well. Go to the welding school. Go get that real world experience during and after welding school. Make a name for yourself, then get into mobile welding. Obviously, I'm just starting mobile welding. Truck's not even here yet if y'all been following along. But the welding experience and the weld quality you have will get you places. It's got me places even before the welding rig. And I highly suggest that y'all put a lot of emphasis into the welding experience because you will learn so much